for 2024. This has been the inaugural season, and what a season we have had. Shea Adam and John Hindhoff in the Full Performance Global Broadcast Centre, bringing you the action. Great race yesterday with a 4-wide finish. A couple of lap cars in that, but Tyler Maxson squeaking that one by a half of 1/10 of a second. The weather has played its part. It's absolutely perfect. Just had enough sunshine to warm the track surface here, but there's a little bit of overcast now, just a tiny little bit of a filter over the sun, so it's not too bad at all. The dark horse safety car with the lights on, ready to go at the end of this historic pit lane, going the wrong way down the front straight. We have 21 cars, and the news that we brought you yesterday about Zachary Lee and his very unfortunate accident on his first lap out in qualifying, which destroyed his silver bullet. Well, I'm afraid that Zach will not be taking part in this final round. There was some hope. He has come back to the track, and there was some hope. We hear there was a car available for him, but he is not going to be taking part in this race, which leaves the field open for a couple of drivers in the championship. Live from Indianapolis, Mustang Challenge 2024 with Ford, built Ford proud. Shea Adam alongside me, as I mentioned. I don't think we really need to tell everybody where we are. We're in Indiana, just about 15-20 minutes away from downtown. If I look to my left-hand side, across the golf course, I can see the high-rise of downtown Indianapolis. Pullman Boulevard, the midfield back straight part of this 2.5 mile circle with 14 corners, and there's a little bit of everything running down to turn one, a very, very sharp 90-degree right-hander that opens out into turn 3, 4 and 5, and keep an eye on the track limits over those curbs. Well, good afternoon, Shea Adam, as it is. 21 cars, I'll run through them in a moment or two, but ultimately the two championships are in play here, and with a remarkably similar look as far as the championship points tables are concerned as we head into this last round.
Good afternoon, John. And yes, it's all to play for 4 drivers in the field. Robert Noaker leading the dark horse category, 60-point advantage over yesterday's race winner, Tyler the Tiger Maxson, who they start first and second. So we should be in for a real treat. Nobody else is close enough to claim the overall championship. In the legends category, with Zach Lee not starting, it's Alex Bashura who leads the way. 60-point advantage over Mike Stillwagon. So once again in that category, the 19 has a little bit of work to do, but the good news for Stillwagon is he starts 1 position ahead of Bashura.
So that is the simple calculation. Here are the 21 cars on the Ford starting grid. Jack Lewis in position number 21 on his own on the 11th row. Kel Kearns in the blue number 66, John Strauss in the multicolour Capaldi racing car in 20th and 19th. On the 9th row of the grid, Scott Thompson on the inside, Stephen Weider in the NV Autosport car. That's the car that was stolen, recovered effectively. And then it's Nick Smither and Tom Tate, Alex Bashura and Mike Stillwagon on row 7, Christian Pericarpi and Christian Bach on row 6. Alfonso Diaz, who charged up the field yesterday, along with Chloe Chambers. They both made up 10 positions yesterday. This grid set on fastest laps, by the way, from the race. Then it's Wes Slimp and Marcus Vento, Max Opalski, Sam Paley, Reed Sweeney and Jerry Fletcher, and the 2 Robert Noaker cars that are vying for the championship. Robert Noaker on pole position on driver's right, the inside, the pit wall side, with Tyler Maxson in the orange and black car as we go green, and the 45-minute countdown to the end of the season for the Indianapolis is underway. The pole man, Robert Noaker, has was that little bit of a lock-up on the Michelin tyres down into turn 1, but he's got through it okay. And Tyler Maxson follows through in second place. That's the battle for the championship at the front of the field. Look further back into the Dark Horse Legends and keep an eye open then for the 2 drivers in the 19, Mike Stillwagon, the Skip Barber racing car, the blue, chrome blue and orange, and Alex Bashura in the olive drab number 33 Spark Performance car. Those are the cars, and they are side by side at the moment, battling for the Dark Horse Legends Championship. And Stillwagon with the advantage there. They are not leading their category at the moment, but that's not what's important. It's about getting those points sorted out for the end of the season. Shea Adam, nice clean start, and the championship protagonists have at least got through the first few corners.
It was a beautifully executed start by Robert Noaker. He saw that Tyler Maxson had backed off the gas just a tiny little bit, and that's when he made his move. Maxson getting loose into turn one, managed to hang on to the car, and in doing so, he actually lost a position. So now Maxson is back down in third as Jeremy Fletcher made up the spot up into second. One thing we're going to have to keep an eye on for today's race are track limits, which Jeremy Fletcher learned yesterday. Post-race 10-second penalty applied for excessive violation of track limits. So we need to watch out for cars straight lining, particularly that chicane going into turn 5. We saw a lot of it yesterday, saw a lot of it on the opening lap as well.
So, time certain race here. Noaker, as he did yesterday, being able to pull out a little bit of a lead. And Chloe Chambers in the Red Bull car, newly announced on Wednesday of this week as the Red Bull Ford Academy driver in F1 Academy next year, has not ruled out doing more sports car races. She's enjoyed what she's been doing this weekend, and that was a great charge up through the field yesterday, made up 10 positions into the top 10, and she's sitting solidly in 9th at the moment. Into 10th position, the number 52 car, and Mike Stillwagon holding on to second position in the Dark Horse Legends ahead of Alex Bashura at the front of the field. Tyler Maxson down into third position, comes into this race as the championship leader barely, and he's got Reid Sweeney, who is another Robert Noaker run car, but all of these drivers, remember, racing for themselves here, Shea. No team orders from RNR. I suspect that Reid Sweeney will not want to mess with his two teammates and cost either one or, heavens above, not both of them, any opportunity to win a championship.
Definitely not. Reid Sweeney's goal is get to the podium again. Yesterday it was a Robert Noaker Racing sweep of the podium, with Maxson winning out and ultimately closing the gap to his championship rival. But right now Robert Noaker is doing exactly what he needs to. He has a 60-point advantage, which means that realistically, if Maxson wins the race and Noaker finishes third, he's fine. He still wins the championship. So Noaker has the comfort of knowing that this championship is his to lose, and right now all he's doing is driving perfectly to stay out front. Although Jeremy Fletcher is hunting him down, and John, we talked about team orders. Fletcher's with MMR. Fletcher is with a completely different team. All he wants to do is win a race.
And they have to be cognizant of that and understand that as well. Noaker cannot afford to non-score or badly score here. It will throw the door wide open to Tyler Maxson, who came in with that scant advantage. They both have to just get through to the end of this race, and then we'll find out who's won the championship. Shea.
Maxson came in at a 60-point deficit to Noaker, so it's Noaker who has the advantage.
Yes, indeed. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, is there, and we possibly, I think we have to say this because I know Zach is on the grounds and listening to us here on 103.9 and around the circuit in Indianapolis. But there is still a chance that Zach could win this championship. They haven't overhauled him as yet.
But they'd have, by dint of starting the race and the number of cars running in the category. There's 10 cars, which means that minimum points would supersede the 90-point gap that Zach Lee has to Alex Bashura. But Zach Lee could still finish second in the championship, depending on where Mike Stillwagon finishes today's race.
Yeah, okay. That's important to understand. So Bashura, Stillwagon fighting it out for the Legends Championship, and Noaker and Maxson fighting it out for the Dark Horse Championship. As Shea explained earlier on, the cars are identical, and we will have a second race championship in 2025 for these cars. It's the Mustang Cup, Mustang Challenge Cup effectively, which will be for less experienced drivers, some perhaps who've done the Ford Experienced driving days, or other racing, and they will then be able to transition through perhaps to this Mustang Challenge when they've amassed a little bit more track and racing side-by-side experience. And yesterday, the entry list for the much heralded and excitement. Oh, and Cloyd Chambers just gone a little bit long at turn 12 and comes back on through the chicane there. The Red Bull sponsored car.
Oof.
That's going to cost her a couple of positions at the very least. Yes, the entry list for the Le Mans race in 2025 opened, and well, if you were writing it down, there would have been an awful lot of ink used, should I say. I'll put it that way. There's been an awful lot of interest from pretty much every team and driver in this championship. Drivers and teams who aren't in this championship, European teams. I've had at least 8 emails that have been passed forward to the Ford team from well-known teams in Europe, the UK and the rest of Europe, who want at least one car. And it's going to be a busy off-season to get those cars out and to decide who will be going to that non-championship race in the middle of June next year. Side by side, and that's that's Max Opalski, who loses a position for the moment in the number 2, with Southern Paley Motorsports' Sam Paley going through. Had a quiet middle of the race yesterday. Sam Paley dropped a few positions, but clearly it saved something for the last, 8 or 10 minutes, Shay, because he made all those positions back again.
Yeah, he definitely did. And this battle between Opalski and Paley's been going on for a few laps now. Both teams, both Max Opalski Racing and Southern Paley Motorsport, starting out as individual one-car teams at the beginning of the year. Now they're both under the MMR banner as well. So both of these cars being helped out by the fact that more cars means more data, means you get a better setup on your car by the end of the year. So very fun to see both of these guys racing each other hard and clean. Further back, there was a moment there for Mike Stillwagon and Alex Bashura where they were going at it, hammer and tongs. And I would just like to put this out there to our Ford Performance overlords. Could we please feed our radio straight into the drivers during the race so that we could tell the drivers when to not make a move? Alex Bashura does not need to get around Mike Stillwagon to win the championship. He's fine finishing one position behind. So Alex, please don't risk your car.
Well, does that count even if Mike gets the fastest lap? Because the fastest lap in Legends is his at the moment, and that would be extra points.
It would be 10 bonus points going his way. Finishing one position further ahead is a 20-point advantage. 30 points would only have the gap, but the championship would still go to Bashura. He would need to be 2 positions further behind and have Stillwagon with the fastest lap.
Tyler Maxon is in exactly the same position than Dark Horse. He's in 3rd position. His championship leader that he's chasing down is his team leader as well, Robert Nowicker. He leads the race at the moment, came in with a 60-point edge, and so that is growing at the moment, but Tyler has got the fastest lap, so any single mistake that drops a couple or 3 places for Robert Nowicker, that could be absolutely crucial. We did give the pole position points out for this race. Didn't have those yesterday because they weren't earned. They were from championship positions because we didn't get a qualifying session with that outlap incident for Zach Lee. So no points awarded for the poles yesterday, but it is in the regulations that you can set the second race by the best laps within the first race, and that's exactly what we did. This is a bit of a drama for the white number 15, Alfonso Diaz, who was one of the stars of yesterday. Fought his way up 10 paces, and the Tech Sport car, I think, was smoking a little bit, that white number 15 there, Shay.
Yep, it was smoking from the end of the previous lap as he came out onto the front straight, as now Jeremy Fletcher has his hands full of Tyler Maxson. Once again, this is going to be a fun battle up for second. And then what can Maxson do if he does manage to get by Fletcher? But for Alfonso, it's a bit of a heartbreak with the Tech Sport Racing car. Yesterday, he was the driver of the day, in my opinion, until the end when Tyler Maxson put on a really good show. And as he's doing once again, putting on a nice show to claim that second position away from Fletcher. But it was a very decisive, well-mannered
moment
drive.
As but back they are side by side. This is good respect by both of these drivers. Reid Sweeney in the black and gold car coming up behind them, second, third and fourth as they come on to the famous front straight, all taking different lines. Watch Reid Sweeney here in the black and gold car. He's getting a double toe as they go too wide across the yard of bricks and down into the first corner. Tyler Maxson has to put pressure on the leader. He knows that in that orange and black car, so he wants to clear this battle. And here's Sweeney, as I thought he would be, starts to look up the inside on the right to left switchback for turns 2 and 3, and that's cost Maxson a little bit of momentum as they go through 4. And all of a sudden, Jeremy is in a bit of clear air, and Tyler having to defend, throwing up some dirt as they go on to the middle straight and down towards turn 7. Ahead of them by 3.8 seconds, Robert Noaker. Now yesterday in the last moments of the race, the last 2 or 3 laps, actually probably a bit more than that, in getting into the last 10 or 12 minutes, their lapped traffic did play a part in the race, and it effectively changed the final result. Robert Noaker losing out on the line. If you haven't seen it, it's on the YouTube archive via Ford Performance and their website and their official channel. And if we stay green, and we were green all the way through, then I'm pretty certain, Shea, we will have lap traffic to deal with again.
Yes, we will. And the question is, how far through the race will that start to come into play? Yesterday, there were a couple of spins, a couple of dive bombs that resulted in cars going off as well. As there's a spin right there, and it's Alex Bashura, it's the championship leader in effect.
That is very, very costly for Bashura. I think I saw Tom Tate go through in the MDK car. Stephen Vaidya is just a little bit further behind. The car that was directly behind Bashura. There was contact. There was Pericarpi, and that was not a battle for class position. That will absolutely have Alex Bashura fit to be tied. He's dropped to 4th, Stillwagon in 2nd, and Stillwagon with the fastest lap. This is getting very tight for the championship, Shea Adam, in the Dark Horse Legends. That blue, chrome and tangerine, bright orange car for Stillwagon. Oh, he's so close now to that championship lead.
One more position. If Alex Bashura drops one more position, Stillwagon claims the championship. So this is getting very tense at the moment, as Stillwagon going around in 2nd with smoke pouring out of the leader's car, that being Alfonso Diaz. I'm shocked that the number 15 is still running, to be honest, because it looks like we've elected a new pope. There's so much white smoke.
Thinking back to the early races, I think it was at Mid-Ohio, there was 1 or 2 cars had a little bit of smoke from the diff, with a little bit of diff oil that was overfilled, so that maybe he can continue. We're talking about Alex Bashura dropping a place, but of course if Mike Stillwagon does catch the leader and go through, that would also give him the provisional championship lead. But there's half an hour to go, and what do we know in Mustang Challenge? That anything can happen in 30 seconds, never mind 30 minutes here.
Well, if it was to elapse where Stillwagon was to take the lead, you would have to go to a count back, and both drivers have 1 win on the season after yesterday. 2 seconds for Stillwagon, 4 seconds for Bashura. So if Stillwagon is leading and Bashura is third, then we get into a situation where it's still Bashura. But it gets so close.
Bashura in fourth at the moment, though, and with 3 seconds between himself, 6 seconds between himself and Tom Tate. So that at the moment is still a championship in play. Robert Noaker is doing what he needs to at the front of the field. Tyler Maxson has fought his way up to second position ahead of Jeremy Fletcher in the blue and white car, with Reed Sweeney in the black and gold car sitting in behind. So second is that orange and black car coming through towards the end of the lap now, and he can't do anything more than get past the leader, and even that at this stage wouldn't be enough. In the Legends category, as we've said, Mike Stillwagon, he at the moment is in charge of his own destiny if he can pass the 2 cars ahead. One is Chloe Chambers, recovering after that run on at turn number 12, and she's not in his class, so passes Chloe in the Red Bull car. It doesn't make any difference for Mike. It's the white number 15 in 10th position of Alfonso Diaz, who, as Shea mentioned, had a stunning drive in the Thursday race, coming up from dead last in the field up to a top 10 finish, making up 10 positions. And should be said that he only got that car very, very recently. He had made inquiries to For Performance about getting a car for the tail end of the season, and at the time he asked, there wasn't one available, and then there was, and Ford got him back in touch with him and said, are you still interested, even though we coming in towards the end? And he said, yeah, I'll take it straight away. And so this has been an absolutely stunning debut for Diaz in that 15 car, and Alfonso telling me he is absolutely wanting to do the full season next year. And on the strength of what we've seen, even in that smoky number 15 car, what we are looking at there is a Legends contender for next year if he comes back full season.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Alfonso Diaz's last lap around was 1.7 seconds faster than what Chloe Chambers did behind him. And to put it in context, the car that he is now chasing down like a shark in bloodied water, he did 1.7 seconds faster than Christian Bach as well. So Alfonso Diaz is showing that the cars are all the same, and it's just the driver who makes the difference. He's able to make a difference.
And this is bad news for Mike Stillwagon in his championship aspirations. The car second in the Legends category, as Alfonso has caught Christian Bach. He does not want another car between himself and the potential win. And that's that Wes Slimp running long there in the 47, the Precision Performance Motorsport. Yes, it is. So he's let that battle go by, or he ran long anyway. My only worry about Alfonso at the moment, Shea, is race control will be looking at that car, and if they think, and if they get any of the marshals posts, the flag stations, reporting that that car is putting any kind of fluid on the track, he'll get the black and orange flag, the meatball flag, and he'll have to come to pit lane immediately as the battle for second changes again, and Jeremy Fletcher goes through but runs long, can't keep it at the apex of turn number 9, and back through goes the Tyler Maxson. Calvin is the nickname of that car. All of that team's cars named after Calvin and Hobbes characters from the strip cartoon. A little dink there. Very small, but just enough to unsettle the back of Tyler Maxson in the Robert Noaker number 74 car. Robert Noaker Racing. Robert Noaker is in his car, of course, and he's 7 seconds away from this. But we are just about a lap away, Shea, from half distance. There's plenty of action to come here for the final round of the Mustang Challenge 2024.
Oh, it's definitely all to play for still, as Jeremy Fletcher has to look down the inside of the Calvin car going into turn number 1 and actually makes it stick, although Maxson is going to stick it around the outside. No, Fletcher closes the door and the position goes to the 22. So now we have Calvin and Susie together again as the 74 and the 31 are now vying for that third position. This is a great battle. You almost feel bad for Robert Noaker being out front and having to drive on his own. Oh, no, wait, this is exactly where he would want to be.
Surely would be. Max Opalski running wide behind this battle as he came on to Holman Boulevard, which is the middle straight, if you will, with a golf course on driver's left, as they wind their way through the twistier first and last parts of this 2.5 mile. Very wide circuit. There are places you can pass here, and here down the inside into turn 12 is an opportunity for Tyler Maxson. He's got position. Can he be late enough on the brakes? That Bosch ABS unit working overtime there. Brilliant by Jeremy Fletcher. This is more like MotoGP. MotoGP at Twin Ring Mategi this weekend, but that was a MotoGP defence and attempted pass by those two. Looked like Fletcher just rolled off the brake pedal as he came in and managed to hold on to second position. Up the road by 9 seconds now. This is slowing this trio down so much. And Robert Noyager, who is almost a second and 3/4 away from the pace that he can run. He's not having to push that hard, and he's still pulling away from the battle for second position. Huge sideways slide and into the wall. No! How did that beautiful turquoise number 30 of Scott Thompson miss the inside wall coming out of turn 14? Only the gods of racing know, and they aren't saying anything.
Wow, that was a nerve-wracking moment for Scott Thompson, whose life just flashed before his eyes with that one. And it's one of those things, where do you want to spin at Indy? Anywhere where there's grass, definitely not where there are walls. He was very lucky to get away with that one, and really relieved that he gets to live another day. But John, you are completely right about this battle for second. It's so entertaining for us, and it is helping Robert Noyager just cruise off into the distance, because last lap around, he was 1.5 seconds faster than what these battling cars were able to do.
Not a replay of what we saw last time around, live battling for third position, for second position rather, in exactly the same spot, 12 and 13, but this time Tyler Maxson in the orange and black number 74. I love that. I love that colour scheme, and the matte black hood is absolutely what you would expect to see from a Ford Mustang. It takes me back to my youth when I was in the UK, looking at the American muscle cars of the day, some of them that made it across to the UK for what we would have called saloon car racing in those days. The big engine V8 American cars against the smaller, lighter and possibly more nimble European options, including some front wheel drive Austin and Minis, of course. That was the stock in trade in the 60s through into the early 70s. These cars, Mustang, global brand, global heritage, and a global icon of street and racing. And these cars built from a street car shell and with a huge amount of stock dark horse parts on the cars, including all of the bodywork. And Ford not only allowing you to buy spare parts from your local Blue Oval dealer wherever you are in the US, but actually encouraging it, and they give you a list of part numbers that you can use. The crew chiefs I was talking to yesterday during the lunch break saying, oh, it's great. We get back if we need anything and we've run out, we just ring up our local Ford service centre and nip round, pick up the parts, and they're bolt straight on. The V8 engine, the gearbox and the diff are street stock, but they are sealed by Ford Performance, just so there can be no jiggery pokery. And the roll cage and some of the other parts which are race specific, including the Multimatic DSSV dampers, which are hugely adjustable. A couple of different spring packages, Brembo brakes, and the Michelin race tyres, of course, as well. Well, all coming on the Bosch ABS sensor system, actually, all doing their job. Our leader in Dark Horse Legends just missing the curbs there on turn number 6 and still smoking at times, but not all the time. Now, there's two things about this. If it was an overfilled diff, then possibly it's burned some of that oil off. The worry, it's still smoking.
No.
Smoking through, is that only smoking through the turn, Shea? And not on the straights?
It is smoking more during the turns, but it was smoking on the straight as well at a couple of different points, particularly the front straight. This car, which is leading the Dark Horse Legends category, is 9th overall. That's important, but I am watching the charge back on timing and scoring. Mike Stillwagon is turning in lap times that this last lap was the first time he was faster than Alex Bashura. For the past 5 minutes, it has been Bashura narrowing the gap, and it's actually come down from just over 10 seconds to 6.7. Meanwhile, Tom Tate has caught up to Mike Stillwagon, and now there is a proper battle for second for what could be the effective lead if the problems with Diaz continue, and he does wind up in the pits.
Yeah. What Mike needs, and I'm not saying he will want this because you don't wish ill on any of your competitors, but what he needs is for Alfonso to slow down enough that he can get past him, but he needs Alfonso to stay between himself and Bashura. If that was the case, that's very pretty number 19 car with the fabulous livery. That would be enough for the championship. My goodness. Mike's won one this year already, hasn't he?
No, I don't believe he has.
Oh, so this would be his first win. Right, okay.
Correct.
Yeah. Right, okay. And Alex has won one.
Alex won yesterday. That was his first.
That could be crucial. Absolutely crucial. Because it will go to count back if the scores are tied. You take first, second, third, as far down as you need to go. If we run out of positions, I'm not entirely certain what happens. Rock, paper, scissors in gasoline alley. No, it's the person who got their win first on the season.
No, it's a number of seconds. So the tiebreak would go to Bashura, who has one more second than Stillwagon would have this year.
Yeah. But if everything was tied all the way down, it's the person who has their best finish first. I don't think that can happen with this particular way that the points are set up. But we don't have to go to rock, paper, scissors or a foot race down gasoline alley.
We should.
I think, well, I'd be up for that. It's just more commentating for us to do. We are inside the second half, and in fact coming down to the last third of the season here for Mustang Challenge, brought to you with Ford built, Ford proud, and we have had such a good season, and the prospects for next year opening up at Sebring. We've already seen the calendar, all bar the venue for our final round, which I'm told is probably going to be announced at the Night of Champions, which is later on this evening here in Indianapolis. Looking forward to that, being able to crown our champions. The man at the head of Ford Performance globally, Mark Rushbrook, will be here. John Doonan, president of IMSA, also here. Now Tate has got past the Mike Stillwagon car. So Mike Stillwagon now down into third place in the Legends, and this is terrible news for his championship chances.
It is. This moves the advantage back to Bashura. And Tom Tate, who won the first race of this season, looking to try and make his way up to Alfonso Diaz, but that'll be a big ask. He'll need some help for Alfonso to come back to him. Tate hasn't actually been on the podium since Watkins Glen, so no matter what, this is going to be a good result for Tate, assuming he can hold on to it for the next 15 and a half minutes. Stillwagon, though, realizing that his championship effort is coming up just slightly short, still super impressive for a team and a guy who showed up to Mid-Ohio without a car and managed to still enter the championship and drive like we have not seen this year. It's been a really impressive season from Stillwagon.
Nearly 9 seconds at the front of the field as Tate in the MDK green and orange car has pulled out 2 or 3 Mustang Dark Horse length on that championship contending Skip Barber number 19. Now Sam Paley having a decent scrap as well. He's in 7th position. Marcus Ventos alongside him for a moment there. They were scrapping. That is, if that was just an overfilled diff, I am intensely impressed that car is still running. And that car being the number 15. I cannot believe. Well, actually, do you know what? I'll take that back, because I have seen in my own cars down through the years, if you have a tiny little bit of oil that drops out onto the garage floor, it looks like you've lunched your engine, and there's a big panic because it goes a long way. And that might just be a tiny little drip getting down onto something hot and just giving the impression of something more significant than it is. Down the front straight then for Diaz. Alfonso inside the top 10. He's in position 8 at the moment. The car that's directly behind him is Christian Bach for Core Motorsports. You'll recognise a lot of the names here. They run in other IMSA sanction series right up to and including the WeatherTech series as well. And this has been a really good draw for teams and drivers, with the opportunity to drive something different, something that has got heritage. And it's not, you look at this car and you see a street car, and that's because the silhouette of this car, the bodywork, it is the Dark Horse car. You can buy them here in the States, you can buy them in the UK with the Dark Horse kit as well, with the steering wheel on the opposite side of the car, as Henry Ford started building cars. First Model Ts had the driver's wheel on the right. And they are available. There are 500 horsepower, a little more than that, with a glorious sounding Coyote V8 that is echoing through the front straight here. A smattering of fans here on a Friday at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. More action for Jeremy Fletcher, who's now having been battling for that second position, Shay. It looks like he's just lost a little bit of pace in the middle of the race, and we saw this yesterday as well. Maybe pushed a little bit too hard on his Michelin tyres, and Reid Sweeney in the black and gold car absolutely all over the Jeremy Fletcher Racing Macumbi Macaleer number 22.
Reid Sweeney trying to achieve the all-RNR podium once again. Managed to get it done yesterday with Fletcher initially crossing the line in 4th, then post-race being handed a time penalty of 10 seconds for too many track limit violations. Sweeney is very cognizant of what the back of Fletcher's car looks like. He studied it a lot yesterday. He's trying to get around it once again today, and he'll just have to be a little bit patient as Fletcher's tires maybe have worn off from all that hard battling with Maxon. Maxon is checked out, by the way, but he's still not catching Noacre.
Yeah, Noacre absolutely hang on. Remember, I talk for a living. Metronomic at the front of the field. Running in the late 36s, 38.7, 38.8, and last time around a 38.9. That car can go the better part of 2 seconds, and has done in this race, faster than that. He ran a 35 flat earlier on in the race. The fastest lap we've seen is a 34.9 by Tyler Maxon. That was some time ago. And he's lapping half a second and more quicker than his teammate and team owner, but it's 8.2 seconds with 11 minutes to go. That's going to be something like probably 7 or 8 laps. He's got to be taking a second or more out of that leader in the blue and white number 13, as that car at the moment heads out onto the middle straight, the infield straight. But what I'm going to have to do is look out of the window here and have a quick check, Shay, is to see when and where the leader is going to start catching traffic and who it is going to be. And the traffic is a battling pair of cars just going through turn 11 now, as our leader is coming through turn 9. So that is not a million miles away. That will be within the next lap or so, and that is danger time, effectively. Yep. The 58 among that battle. I think it's John Strauss actually and Scott Thompson that you'll have to go through, as we've got side-by-side action again with Tate under pressure from the blue and orange of Mike Stillwagon, and that is for second in the Legends.
And Stillwagon goes wide, has to give it up. He was leading at the start of this lap. He'd gotten back around Tom Tate, and now Bashura comes through. Alex Bashura, championship leader, massively cuts the chicane. Race control will not be fond of that. They, remember, gave time penalties. Oh, but Bashura backs off, giving the position back to Stillwagon. Very smart driving there from Alex.
Yeah, I think that will save him a penalty.
Yep.
And that is smart when you're battling for a championship, even though there's something like 26 seconds back to Steven Vader in the NV car. That is very smart indeed. Now, Will Mike not be overly happy with Tom as he was coming through turn 3? Was there a slight touch? No, I don't think there was. Nope. He just got out onto the dirt and onto the light grey. And I think that's good battling. I think that's hard battling, but I think that's all right. And Mike will be kicking himself there. Oh, big slide from Stillwagon as he lights up the rear Michelins. I think that shows frustration, Shay.
Yeah, I think so too. The two guys, Tom Tate and Mike Stillwagon, assuming both guys make it onto the podium, I think they might clink their champagne bottles for that good, fair battling together. But Bashura wants that final spot on the podium. So let's see which one of these guys is going to get it. As it runs right now, the championship goes to Alex Bashura.
Let's have a look at our Ford Performance Tech update. And Alfonso Diaz for Tech Sport Racing. Team update. He is the best of DHL's, the Dark Horse Legend cars, in position number 8. Another good run for him. We'll check back in with that in a moment because we've got some battling going on. It's Jeremy Fletcher right in the thick of it again with Reid Sweeney coming to the high side, taking the long way round it, but you do keep up the momentum. Cross the yard of bricks down towards turn 1. With 7.5 minutes left of the 2024 season. Reid Sweeney right in that battle, and traffic ahead is the number 14 of John Strauss in the Capaldi Racing, the white Mustang, the blue spoiler. He keeps out of the way. That was really heads-up driving there.
Yeah, Sweeney had sent it on that previous lap going into turn 12, and Fletcher was just patient, did the old over-under, and managed to get the position back. This is the battling for the final spot on the podium with 7 minutes to go. And Max Sapolsky has reeled himself into this championship view as well, as he now sees a trophy on the line. Right-hand indicator's been on for Opasky for a few laps now, but Sweeney and Fletcher, they don't notice him yet. They're too busy fighting their own battle.
The other two cars that teams we were looking at, the Spark Performance number 33 in our Ford Performance team update. That's Alex Bashura, who at the moment is still sitting in 4th in the Dark Horse Legends, but that would give him the championship. There's enough to overhaul the leader coming in the weekend, Zach Lee, not taking part, remember, in this. And so that is how they stand at the moment as we go into the last 6 minutes. Robert Noaker has responded to Tyler Maxson, and their lap times have come down. 37.3 last time around for Robert Noaker. He needed to put that in because it was a 37.1 from Tyler in second place. But all of the battles going on behind that. And this Dark Horse Legends Championship is being fought over. Not sure. Surely Alex would have been told by his team what the situation was. He doesn't need to fight Stillwater that hard. Jeremy Fletcher still has a battle on his hands to claim the 3rd place on the podium, and Reid Sweeney wants that one again with Max Opalski not too far back in 5th position. We'll run through the top 10 for you. Sam Paley in the 26s in 6th. Sweeney tries the outside line at turn number 7. Not sure that he quite had the momentum there. Behind Sam, Marcus Vento in 8, Christian Bach in 9. Diaz inside the top 10 with Tech Sport and Christian Pericarpi for LAP in the 37. That is a traditional LAP Motorsports number. Number 37 and 73 they tended to use. They used to run minis And those of you who have any motorsport knowledge will know, I hope, that the 37 was the heritage number and an historic victory for the front-wheel drive original Mini on the Monte Carlo Rally way back when. And they've held on to those numbers and made them their own in whatever championships they've run. Chloe Chambers, by the way, 10th in Dark Horses, 11th overall, despite that little mistake early on. This has been a good couple of races for her, and we hope to see her back in the championship and possibly even at the Le Mans Invitational in June next year. She'll be finishing off her Formula One Academy season. You're only allowed to do that for 2 years, so next year is her second and final year in the Formula One Academy Open Wheel Series. They're effectively an F4 car, and next year she'll be in the Red Bull Ford Academy driving in that championship for her final opportunity. A chance to tune into Midweek Motorsport on Wednesday. We've got an interview that I recorded with Chloe yesterday about her background in racing, and I think it might surprise a few people. That is a young lady who is going places, and I suspect you'll be hearing her name in whatever form of motorsport she turns her hand to, and it sounds like she wants to try as much as possible. It'll be on Wednesday, 3 o'clock Eastern, 8 in the UK, as we begin our build-up to Petit Le Mans. But for here and now, we've got 3 minutes left. Shea Adam and Robert Noaker. I'm not going to say he's cruising to the championship, but he's cruising to the championship.
He's had to work really hard, so for these last 3 minutes, I'm sure his breathing will be a bit lessened than it might normally be, because he's gone into a state of zen. 8.5-second gap over his teammate Tyler Maxson. He can just drive the race car and enjoy it for these last couple of laps, and all the hard work is behind him, but the hard part is in front of him. That's bringing the car home in one piece. Look at Alex Bashura, for example. Nathan Sparks, I know that you listen to us. Please tell your driver to just sit back patiently. Right now, he's looking at a 4th position, but it is a championship. Bashura is still hungry to try and get on the podium. And Max Sapolsky, speaking of being hungry, climbed up to that lead battle for 3rd place. Jeremy Fletcher, Reed Sweeney, and Max Sapolsky. But now Opalski's car is smoking too. So things are getting interesting out there.
Noaker has picked up his pace significantly, down in the low 37s for the last couple of laps. And let's not forget the man who's leading in Dark Horse Legends as well, Alfonso Diaz, who's had a cracking weekend in that white Tech Sport Mustang. The back of the car, somewhat grubby. It started smoking, what, 5 minutes in, 10 minutes in?
Yeah.
And it's still smoking. He's going to get it home, though, with a bit of luck and a fair wind. 1 minute and 33 seconds to go. We're doing 1 minute and 37, so this will be the white flag. And indeed, if I look off to my right-hand side, I can see the white flag waving. And so, more importantly for him, can Robert Noaker. He's got 2.5 miles or thereabouts to take this championship, subject to post-race inspection, as into the pit lane. One of the cars, was that Cal Kearns' car?
No, Reed Sweeney.
No, it's 31. It's Reed Sweeney. Well, you said it was smoking, as he'd caught up to that battle.
Opalski was smoking.
Well, this is amazing. How's he managed to come into the pit lane? It looked like he was dead stick, I think, Shay. So that leaves the battle open for Fletcher, and Opalski could yet be on the podium.
Wow.
That's Opal Green number 2. That would be his best finish of the season.
His first podium of the season as well.
Yeah, absolutely. As the 2 contenders in Dark Horse Legends are still together on the track. Stillwagon and Bashura, 3rd and 4th, battling over the last podium of the season in their category. Stillwagon will know now that unless there is some issue with the car in post-race tech for his competitor, that his chance of the championship has evaporated. And at the front of the field, as time is about to elapse, he's already on his final lap. Robert Noaker Racing, the man with literally his name above the door. And RN of RNR weaves backwards and forwards and takes the checkered flag and is provisionally the first ever Mustang Challenge champion here in the inaugural season of 2024. At the line, it was 8.3 seconds to the only person who could have overhauled him today, Tyler Maxim. Jeremy Fletcher still to come across the line. What an opening weekend of action for the number 15 Tech Sport Racing driver Alfonso Diaz. From the back of the grid yesterday, overtook more than half the field and will win his category in the Legends today in that white number 14 and come home inside the top 10. In fact, he's going to be scored in 8th position, isn't he, with Reid Sweeney coming into the pits. He's cruising round. Sweeney will be, I think Sweeney will finish in 15th position, 11th and Dark Horse, because everyone else was a lap down. There goes Alfonso Diaz to claim the top step of the box for Legends. Christian Pericarpi coming in behind him. Chloe Chambers will be just outside. No, she's pulled up to 9th position. She's passed Pericarpi on that last lap.
Tom Tate pulled over. This means that Bashura is going to finish 3rd and Stillwagon is going to finish 2nd. Oh no, they're side by side. Bashura is going to take 2nd.
Another run to the line in the battle for the Legends this time around. Oh my goodness me. It was the Dark Horse class yesterday, and today it was Tom Tate's run out of fuel. I think Tom Tate has run out of fuel, and he will still be scored 4th because everybody else is a lap down. So even if he doesn't get to the line, so he ran out of fuel on the last lap, which meant Alex Bashura and Mike Stillwagon were battling for 2nd position. They will both make the podium. And, well, brilliant racing again, and a measured race by Robert Noacker. Held something in reserve at the front of the field. Alfonso Diaz with 2 drives to remember for Tech Sport Racing. We'll see him back next year, and I'm marking him down as a contender for the Dark Horse Legends Championship immediately. Into one of the most famous racing pit lanes in the world. Is our leader, now winner, and provisionally the champion, Shea Adam, as Robert Noacker pulls in to go to Victory Circle, which has even more significance today in terms of the championship. Here are the unofficial points.
3,270 points for Robert Noacker, wins the first and the last races of this season. Tyler Maxon in 2nd with 3,190. And 3rd in the championship, critically, because the prizes go to 3rd, is Sam Paley, 2,550 points for Paley. So 3rd place finish earns you $10,000. 2nd place is $20,000. But for Robert Noacker, it's $100,000 towards a GT3 or a GT4 seat for next year, a GT4 test, $40,000 cash, and a Michelin tire credit for one event. In our Dark Horse category, the champion gets $20,000 or a GT4 test. That's going the way of Alex Bashura, 3,030 points for him. In 2nd, Mike Stillwagon, 2,960 points provisionally. And 3rd, even though he did not start either race with a phenomenal season, Zach Lee on 2,800 points.
Zach Lee, who won all bar 3 races. The 2nd, the penultimate, and the last, and 2 of those, as Shea mentioned, he was not competing. Sorry, the first, the penultimate, and the last, and all bar those last 2. Amazing, that run from the 2nd race onwards. We wish him well and hope that he'll be back for 2025. I know he's here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Great camaraderie in the pit lane after a hard season. A season that has seen ups and downs for most of the drivers. The bad luck for Zach Lee was that his bad luck came at exactly the wrong time when he couldn't recover from it in the last 2 races of the season. Winners kiss the bricks at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and Alfonso Diaz has managed to do that this weekend after 2 brilliant races. He had to start at the back yesterday because he had no championship points, having not raced in the championship before. It's kind of a given, isn't it? And fought his way up past half of the field and had a lap time quick enough to start in a far better position today. And he's turned that into a win in his category and a top 10 finish here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Well, we'll confirm the unofficial results. The Noaker Maxon experience at the top, both of the R&R cars, first and second again, and we'll finish that way in the championship. From Jeremy Fletcher once again on the podium, Max Opalski in fourth. Sam Paley got past Marcus Vento at the end, and that was significant that Sam was able to defend that 5th position because that gives him 3rd in the overall championship. Marcus in 6th, 7th Christian Bach, Alfonso all the way up to 8th in his Legends and winning his Legends class. Chloe Chambers, great weekend for her, made up 10 positions yesterday, and then getting into the top 10 again ahead of Christian Pericarpia, made up the top 10. Weslim, Alex Pachura second ahead of Mike Stillwagon in the blue numbered cars. They were second and third in the DHL class, first and second in the championship. Reed Sweeney with that retirement close to the end, and then Tom Tate running out of fuel but holding on to 15th position overall with a 4th place finish. Stephen Vaja with the stolen recovered car literally was missing without permission earlier on, taken without owner's consent earlier on this week, and turned up just 3 hours or so before he had to go and qualify. Smithers, Nick Smither in 17th, John Stroud, Scott Thomas, Jack Lewis making up the top 20. Kel Kearns with problems. We didn't see Brandon Godovic for precision, but we wish him the best, along with Zach Lee, of course. What a cruel end to the season for the man who dominated Dark Horse Legends. That's just about it from the racing. We will be celebrating the champions later on this evening. My very great thanks to all of the very dedicated technical teams, both here at Indianapolis and, of course, throughout the rest of the season. Our IMSA officiating crew who have looked after us and the drivers, to all of our volunteer marshals and flaggers, the recovery, all of the medical staff as well who've looked after this series. Of course, to my co-commentator, Shea Adam, and to our dedicated technical team up in Concord, North Carolina, our NASCAR Productions crew who've looked after us to bring you all of the action for the most of the season. It's been Apex this weekend, so thanks to those guys as well here on site at Indianapolis. We're already looking forward to 2025, that will start at Sebring in the middle of March, and we'll take in a trip to Le Mans as well. Join us then for the Ford Mustang Challenge for 2025. I'm John Hindorf, signing off for 2024. Bye-bye.